All right, so today, this is, I'm not even sure, it's November something, like 13th, I think it is, Friday the 13th, 2020. I wanted to take a couple minutes this morning just to encourage you and once again to discover the golden thread of God's hand in the United States of America. I was reading this morning in Psalm 118, I believe it's in verse 13. It says that we through God shall do valiantly. For it is the Lord who shall tread down our enemies. I'm encouraged by that. And that God is on our side, of whom shall we be afraid? In other words, if God be for us, it makes no difference who, and it makes no difference what is against us. I wanted to talk this morning briefly about the Battle of Trenton in December of 1776, just a few months after retreating across the East River in Long Island. George Washington was faced with yet another dire circumstance. Here's another one where it looks like it's all over. Doesn't look good. So he decided that because morale was low and most of his army's enlistments were up at the end of the month, he decided he couldn't wait anymore and he was going to go on the offensive. And he crossed the frozen Delaware River on Christmas night and attacked on the 26th at dawn. He was attacking a British and Hessian garrison early in the morning. Now, as they were beginning to implement this plan, a massive snow and hailstorm came in. Isn't that interesting? Another, just so happens, a hailstorm, just so happens a snowstorm. And what it did was it hid all of their movements from the Hessians and from the British. In fact, it was so bad that all the sentries, the Hessian sentries, went inside for cover, so they didn't know anything that was going on. And when the Americans arrived, in 45 minutes of fighting, they killed 20 Hessians, wounded another 100, and took 1,000 prisoners. General Knox, Henry Knox, said of the whole situation, he said there was so much confusion in the Hessian camp, it was much like the confusion which obviously or may take place when the last trump shall sound. Now, the hand of providence, again, using weather to protect our troops, that in a dire situation, we came out on top. Thanks be unto God who always causes us to triumph and have the victory. Also during this Trenton plan, crossing of the Delaware, when they crossed over, they went through, past homes and things like that. Well, one Dr. Riker, I think was his name, was awakened by a barking dog, and the barking dog was barking at all the American troops that were going by his house. And he rose up out of his bed. Man, he was mad. He woke up in the middle of the night and he was upset. And he finally said, "What's going on?" And he says, "We are the Continental Army." And he says, "Well, I knew something had to be done. Let me get my stuff. I'm going to go with you because maybe I'll be able to help some poor fellow." Well, interesting enough, the guy that he was talking to was an officer named James Monroe, a famous Virginian. Well, that poor fellow that doctor thought he was going to help happened to be James Monroe, who was shot in the chest. And if the doctor, James Monroe said, if the doctor had not been there and by his side, he would have bled to death. And James Monroe ended up being the 5th president of the United States. So you never know exactly what's going to transpire for God's plan to be implemented in the earth. We just know we win. So God is on our side. Rejoice. Be excited because God is doing something. God is at work in the United States of America, and He is defending us. He is fighting our battles, for it's His and not ours. So be blessed today. Enjoy this Friday the 13th. Nothing bad's going to happen, and truth and righteousness are prevailing. Y'all be blessed. This is Al Johnson, and we'll talk to you soon.